What's up guys, I'm BTC. There's been a new PTR patch, and along with a bunch of changes to the hero balance, we also got a bunch of new voice lines and some possible hints at the next event. There was a pretty big patch on the PTR yesterday. It brought back the avoid player function, as well as a bunch of nerfs and buffs for D.Va, Reaper, Mei, and Zenyatta. I already made some videos about that. You can go and check them out after you're done watching this. But there was a bunch of other things that were added to the PTR, so some brand new voice lines for a few of the characters, as well as a change to the loot box system, well, sort of, the event loot box system, that gives us a pretty good idea of what we can actually expect to see coming up for the next Uprising event. The Moira and the Mei ice wall interaction has been changed again. No exaggeration, this is, I believe, the 5th time they've changed it. So first, the biotic orbs would just disappear, and then they would go through it, and then they would get destroyed, and then oh man, they just keep changing it. Anyways, the latest version is now the biotic orbs will simply bounce off of the ice wall. They don't try to attack it. It doesn't matter if it's a friendly or enemy. They just bounce off. That's it. Next up are the new voice lines. Zenyatta got a new ultimate line for his Nutcracker skin.
Experience festivity.
Symmetra also got some new voice lines for her Halloween legendary, the dragon, but for whatever weird reason, Blizzard didn't unlock it for my account on the PTR, so I can't actually show them to you. But they sound kind of magic-y, like Mercy's witch skin. So she says things like summoning a teleportation portal, summoning a barrier, summoning a ward, that sort of thing. Now, in case you're wondering, this is only Symmetra's legendary Halloween. Her epic didn't get the new voice lines. Lucio also got some new voice lines, but these are mixed in with his normal standard stuff. So every now and again, Lucio will say something in Portuguese instead of English.
Fala tu. Oi. Hey. Fala tu.
The biggest change, however, is his enemy ultimate voice line is now entirely unique and in Portuguese. So there should no longer be any confusion whether the Lucio was a friendly ult or an enemy ult.
Oh, let's break it. Damn! Vamos esculachar!
Alright, so let's talk about the next event. It is going to be the Uprising event, although Blizzard seems to be making some changes. So this event should start the second week of April, most likely going to be Tuesday, April 10th. And although it was originally the Uprising event, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to continue calling it that, because it's not going to be the same thing every single year. So with the Halloween event, it makes sense to call it the Halloween event, because it's the same thing. Year after year after year, it's still Halloween. But with the Uprising, it's slightly different because it's supposed to take a piece of the history from Overwatch and allow us to kind of experience that. So again, last year it was the Uprising event that first happened in King's Row. But this year it's going to be something different, and they're going to continue expanding on the story. So if you go in game on the PTR, you'll notice that they've changed the name of the loot boxes from the items that you get from the Uprising event, and now it's called the Archive. So these are going to be the annual event that is kind of like the history of Overwatch, and we as the players get to kind of experience it through some sort of custom in-game mode. If you don't know too much about the story, the Overwatch organization was actually split into two separate sections. So you had Overwatch, which was kind of the face of the organization, and that was Soldier 76 and Reinhardt and Mercy and Torbjorn. But then you had the covert side of it, which was Blackwatch, and that was run by Gabriel Reyes, which we better now know as Reaper, but he also had Genji, McCree, and Moira on his team. So last year we had the kind of Uprising event that showed off the Overwatch team, but my thinking is we're probably going to get a new event that focuses more on Reyes and Reaper and Blackwatch in general, because the main split of Overwatch, like one of the major reasons why it all came crashing down, was because there was a conflict between Soldier 76 and Reaper, and they kind of brought the whole house down upon themselves, kind of literally and figuratively. Now let me show you something that Jeff Kaplan said just a couple weeks ago. Reaper is absolutely central to the game's story. We're excited to reveal more about his worldview and who he is as a person. Sorry that these things take time to develop, we're moving as fast as we can. The two cooperative game modes that Blizzard has already put in the game, which was Junkenstein's Revenge and the Uprising, both used 4 players on your team. And in the game now, we have 4 of the original Blackwatch members: Reaper, Genji, McCree, and Moira. So that means they very well could do more expansion on the Reaper story by giving us a Blackwatch mission. And even though there isn't a tank, remember, you don't really need it for the Blackwatch stuff because it's supposed to be the covert team, right? It's more like Metal Gear Solid, where you sneak in and stuff. You don't need a Reinhardt or an Orisa kind of tank because they're supposed to sneak around. So my thought is, if they're going to give us a Blackwatch mission, one, we already have all of the skins in the game for it, right? We have the original Blackwatch skins for Reaper, for Genji and McCree, and for Moira, it's basically just kind of like a palette swap of what her default is. And so we already have that in the game. So if they're going to give us a cooperative, so imagine that the 4 of them kind of go into some large facility, an Omnic building or a factory, something like that. And there's a big pit in front of them, and in order for everybody to get across, then Reaper needs to teleport and turn on a switch. Or Genji needs to go over here, wall climb up a little bit, and sneak through some area, and then activate another doorway, or the light bridge, or whatever it happens to be. So I think there's a very real possibility that this sort of thing could happen, and maybe they discover something when they're in there, and this kind of puts Reaper at odds with what Soldier 76 wants to do. Because remember, there was a big kind of schism between those two, a big conflict between those two. So this might show where Reaper started to kind of like fall away from the main Overwatch organization, where he's like, you know what, I don't really want to do that stuff. I want to do my own thing. This is what we should be doing instead of what Soldier 76 is doing. I think it would add a little bit more depth to the cooperative game modes, because with Junkenstein's Revenge, you just stay in one place and fight off waves and waves of enemies. And with the Uprising event, you move around and fight off waves and waves of enemies. So it would add something a little bit new to the whole thing. So what would you guys like to see? A new Blackwatch event or something else? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Make sure to check out my Discord server. Follow me on Twitch and Twitter. The links for that stuff are down below. And remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault. Also, special thanks to all my Patreon supporters for helping to make this all possible. If you'd like to see what kind of cool rewards you can get for supporting the channel, check the links on screen and down below.